In this video, we're going to be reviewing the performance of a brand new ad campaign that just went live for one of our clients, and I'm going to use this as an example of what to do once you've launched your first campaign. So welcome back to another video. My name is Jack Newman, and if you've been following this series, it's all about how to run profitable Facebook advertising campaigns and how to build your first campaign and actually get it live if you've never used Facebook advertising before and you're a complete beginner. So hopefully you've gone through and watched each of the videos up to this point. You should have a campaign that's gone live. You should have published it. You should have the tracking in place, all of the ad copy, the creatives, all the planning, everything should be done. And you should now have some data from running your first campaign to actually see what has worked and what hasn't worked and start making some refinements and changes. So if you haven't watched the series of videos that I've put together in this playlist, there's a link below to that where you can go ahead and you can watch all the videos which will get you up to this point where you've actually launched your first ad campaign. So the first thing we need to do when reviewing your Facebook data is we need to look at what are the key KPIs to monitor. Now, what is a KPI? It stands for Key Performance Indicator. Now, this basically means how much are you spending for your key results. So if you're an e-commerce brand, this is likely going to be the purchase cost, so how much you're spending to acquire a new customer. If you're a lead generation company or a company that revolves around leads, you're going to be looking at the cost per lead. So let's take our own agency, for example. When we run advertising campaigns for ourselves to generate new clients, our KPI is how much is it costing per lead. Now, that's not the only KPI we look at, because obviously a lead isn't someone transacting with us. It's not a new client for us. It's literally just someone saying, hey, yes, I'm interested. But that is the first point of contact, and that is the first metric that we measure. How many leads are we getting from our campaign? Now, if we're spending £50 a lead, that could be very good for us. If we're spending £500 a lead, that's not going to be very good for us based on our service fee and our charging model. Now, that's the first KPI. Now, for our business, the second KPI would be, has anyone booked a call? Have we actually been able to speak to them and connect with them? The next KPI would be, have we sent a proposal? The third might be, have they closed as a client? So there are a few different KPI examples for our business. Let's take a look at an e-commerce company. Let's say we're selling t-shirts for, let's say, £50 per t-shirt. Now, some of the KPIs in that example are going to be add to cart cost. So how much is it actually costing to get someone to add the product to cart? And then the key KPI is going to be cost per purchase. How much is it costing to get a sale? How much is it costing to get a new customer into the business? So when you're reviewing your ad campaign, you need to really understand, what am I looking at? There's a lot of metrics to look at, and things like clicks, CPM, reach, impressions, interactions. These are all important stats, but the key ones to look at ultimately, and the one you really need to keep the most focus on, is whichever the outcome you're looking for is in terms of a result. So for example, like I said, purchases or leads typically is going to cover the majority of businesses. Okay, so let's jump into an ad account of a client that we launched just a few days ago. So these campaigns have been going not even 7 days yet. We've actually had some great results for this business. And I'm going to run through the KPIs. I'm going to run through how we're looking at this account and how to actually set it up. So I filtered by just the one campaign that we've launched. Since coming on board as an agency, we've just launched this one campaign and it's already performing and outperforming what they were doing previously due to all of the setup that we did. So it's not due to any magic that we performed in the ad account. Of course, we followed the best practices that I went through in the series and a few other things that we've implemented for this client specifically. But the reason why this campaign is working is because we focused on the right product, we focused on the right creatives, the right ad copy, and we leveraged best practices like I've been speaking about in terms of broad targeting and other things. And we have the correct tracking setup so we can monitor. So there's all these different variables in place, but it's not like we've done some magic on the ad account. It's really a result of all of the work we've done before we pressed launch on the campaign itself. So let's dive into this. First of all, as you can see, this has spent some money. It's still live. We're spending around £50 a day, so it's still just a test campaign at the moment. I'm going to scale this up over time for this client. We've had 8 sales, and you can see here we've got £25.02 per sale. Okay, so you've got £25 per sale. We spent £200 on this campaign. Pretty good so far. So how do I know this is pretty good? Well, for this specific client, they're an e-commerce business, it's a fashion brand, and they're selling dresses, which is the main core product we're promoting. Each of these dresses is worth around £250 per sale. Obviously, that's not profit margin. I'm not going to go into their exact margins in this video. It's not appropriate. But the point is, and the thing to keep in mind, is that they're selling something for £250 and we're getting a new customer for £25. So this is extremely profitable for them. And we can see this based on a few different factors. And if I kind of scroll across here, you'll start to see some of these columns. So you can see we've had website add to carts, and you can see we've got the purchase ROAS, which is currently a 10 times ROAS. So for every £1 they're spending, they're getting £10 back reported back into the Facebook ad platform. This is pretty much accurate, to be fair. There's not too much under or over reporting going on based on when we were looking at this earlier. So first of all, you need to be able to see what's working and what isn't. Now, the core result is going to display in the result. So when you set up your campaign, if you optimize for leads or sales, whatever you optimize for, it's going to show in this result column. But as you can see, I've got a few other ones here, and that's because I'm using a custom column set. So I'm just going to run through how to set this up yourself to look at the key metrics. So what you want to do here is you want to click on columns and you want to click customize columns. And then that's going to bring up this kind of interface here where you can actually look at what you've got in terms of the current columns, and you can add different ones. Okay, so I'm just going to close off some of these and we're just going to add them again. I'm just going to show you what I like to look at. So we want to be looking at clicks. Okay, now ideally you want to look at unique link clicks, which is going to be the unique link clicks. Okay, pretty straightforward there. And you want cost per click as well. So you can just search up here and it's cost per unique, or cost per link click really is what you're looking at here. The other metrics I like to look at is CPM. That's cost per 1,000 impressions. Again, I have other videos on my Instagram, which again, there's a link in the description for, where I kind of make these really short videos and I just explain what each of these things are and how to look at them. But just a really brief one in this video, CPM is cost per 1,000 impressions. It's really important that you look at this because if your CPM, when you launch a campaign, is just way outside of the normal reference range for your account, it can indicate issues with the ad copy and other ad creative in some cases as well. So what you want to do is you want to keep looking at this and make sure that the CPMs are in line with what you expect them to be based on your account history. And if you see a massive increase in CPMs, one of the issues that I've seen cause that can be certain keywords or certain things in your ad copy that get flagged and then essentially boost the CPM right up. So CPM is a good one to keep an eye on. If you're doing an e-commerce store, which is what this one is, we're going to look at add to carts. We're going to look at the cost per add to cart as well. And then I'm also going to look at purchases and the cost per purchase. And I'm also going to look at ROAS, okay? Now again, you don't have to look at ROAS. It's a nice number to look at. It doesn't necessarily paint the whole picture of how well your campaigns, your account is performing. So you need to look at this in conjunction with the other metrics. However, ROAS is a good number to look at from time to time and just keep an eye on that. So a lot of people get very obsessed with ROAS. Now, just bear in mind, depending on the profit margin of the business and the objective of the business, ROAS is not going to paint the whole picture. For example, this account is performing currently at a 10 times ROAS, which means there's a lot of margin for us to scale. We have other accounts that perform at a 1.5 times ROAS. So for every £1 they're spending, they're getting 50 pence profit back. And that's before they've even started to expense all of the cost of their business. So the margins are very, very small in terms of those campaigns, but we're able to spend so much more through them. And their objective is to acquire customers at scale so that they can then monetize them later down the line with other additional products. So there's a lot that goes into this in terms of looking at what is a good ROAS, what is a bad ROAS. More is not always better, like higher ROAS is not always better, because the higher the ROAS, typically there's more on the table. So for example, if you're getting a 10, 15 times ROAS, let's say, you could probably be spending a lot more and get a lower ROAS, and that might actually mean your business can grow at a quicker rate by taking up more market share. So again, that kind of goes beyond the scope of this video, but I just want to touch on that. But it is a good metric to look at. And obviously when it's quite high, it looks very nice as well on your ad account. So yeah, let's go through this. So we've now set up our columns. You can go down here and you can click save. So I'm just going to call this one UKB test, just for the purpose of this video. Now we can start to look at some of the stuff. So obviously there's some of these other columns here that were there before, which is totally fine. Amount spent is really important. Obviously cost per result is really important. We spoke about. We can start to see the link clicks and the cost per link click over here as well. The CPM is totally fine. That's in line with what we'd expect for the account. We can see the add to cart cost. So we're spending £9 per add to cart. We've had 21 add to carts so far. We've had 8 sales tracked through at £25 per sale and a 10 times ROAS. So based on these metrics, I'm very confident that the campaign is performing well. I can now look to scale this. So in fact, we were spending £30 a day. We scaled it to 50. We're going to scale it to 75, 100, 200. It's just going to go up and up and up, assuming we keep getting the results that we need to. So this is a front-end campaign targeting a cold, broad audience, and this should give you an overview of how I'm looking at the account. Now, let's say the opposite happened. Let's say we spent a bunch of money and we didn't get any results. Well, you need to, again, understand how much margin you have before you need to be getting a sale. If, for example, let's take this same client, so their product is £250, the product we're promoting. We've only spent £200. So depending on their margins, we could easily spend a little bit more. We could get up to £250 and see if we get one sale through. Now, the way I like to look at it is I like to then look, so if we're not getting the key metric, I like to look at some of the metrics that go before that. So if we're not getting sales, I like to look at the add to carts and see, right, okay, are we even getting any traction? Are we getting any add to carts at all? And if we're not, then again, we need to maybe adjust. So I'm not going to wait £250 in spend and then be like, oh, okay, we didn't have any add to carts and we didn't have any purchases. The whole thing didn't work, but we've wasted 250 quid. What I'm instead going to do is say, okay, fine, maybe we're getting add to carts, but we're at 250 and we only have one sale. Let's leave it a little bit, see if we get more sales coming through. If you're promoting a product that costs £50, £30, £100, the margins need to be different, and the allowance that the tolerance that you have needs to be different as well. So, again, if your product is £30, you're not going to wait to £250 to see if you're going to get a sale. It just wouldn't make sense, okay? Typically, I'll very rarely spend over double the product value before we're keeping a very close eye on it and or cutting it. So let's take this example. If we spent £250 and we didn't get a sale, we wouldn't be too concerned. If we spent 500 and get a sale, we would be concerned because we spent double that amount, but we haven't had a sale yet. So then we're also consistently looking, like I said, at the add to cart cost and saying, okay, look, are we creating intent through add to cart campaigns or through the add to carts that are coming from the campaign? Is that working? Is it not? Etc, etc. So this should give you an idea into how we're looking at this. I will do future videos in terms of the specific KPIs, like kind of references and reference points you can use to turn off campaigns, turn on campaigns, things like that. I want to give just an overview of how we're looking at data initially in this video. There's a link, like I say, in the description to the entire series where you can watch all of the Facebook ad tutorials, including setting up all of the tracking, including all the ad copy, ad creatives, the tools we're using, setting up your account, your business manager, just literally every single thing you're going to need from start to finish to run a campaign. So make sure you watch the videos in that series. Drop any comments below, and if you're interested in working with me and my agency, there's a link in the first line of the description where you can click it, book a call with me, we can set up a time that works for you, and we can have a no obligation free chat to see if what we offer is the right fit for you. We're a performance marketing agency, we get great results for our clients. There's a link again in the description to our website where you can go through and look at some of our case studies, and if you're interested, just click that link, book a call with me, and we'll go from there. Thank you very much.